taking a look at the dollar. So we have seen some strength. Last time we spoke, I believe we were trading Thursday, yeah, around here. So price was still kind of within this range, and it looked like we're seeing some momentum, but we haven't really broken through any structures, any major highs yet, which we have since gone and done, but nothing significant. Now we have broken through the high, again indicating that okay, momentum is coming back from a buyer's standpoint. But I still want to see a lot more upside. I still want to see a lot more upside for the dollar. I'm not quite convinced that the market is now ready to sell. It could be, but I still want to see more upside before I do entertain any short ideas. Again, same as I spoke last week and the week before. These are really the areas which I would like to see the dollar get to before we do start speaking about some shorts. And of course, targets will be back at the low and probably a lot further as well. But it is a corrective pullback. It is kind of slow and corrective, which is again a key thing I'm looking for how pullbacks form, because if it's nice and slow, there's a good chance that we are going to form a top somewhere and continue back lower. So that's the key thing I'm looking for, and we are nice and corrective. And again, doesn't necessarily mean that price has to come back to these areas before we do continue. Price potentially could sell off at any point, and we could see a continuation from there. But the market isn't quite stretched enough. It isn't quite overbought enough for me to be looking to take any trades yet, especially when we still are roughly trading in areas of support here in the higher time frames. Just taking this zone across here at 99.7. Drop back to the 4-hour chart. You can kind of see we're still kind of fluctuating at that area. So I want price to really pull away from that before I start looking for some shorts, particularly as a swing trader when I'm looking to hold trades for a few days, hopefully potentially a couple of weeks if things go very well. So yeah, I don't want to be holding positions directly into support like that. Therefore, I'm still going to be waiting for price to retrace a lot more. But the bias is still the same, still looking for more downside. But the areas I'm interested in, 101.5, 103.5 are still looking good, and I think price still has a good chance of getting there. EURUSD, same situation. Nice momentum, yes, day to the downside. We've closed pretty strongly bullish this morning, but doesn't really mean too much to me. I still do expect more downside here for Euro. We've kind of broken through this level of support, which held price pretty well for the past few days. We finally cracked that, and I do think we can continue to sell off. I don't think the market is ready yet to see some upside. Again, judging on the weekly chart, where we're trading at major highs here, I don't think price is likely going to continue, especially with this big aggressive wick there to the upside. I do think we can see a bit more of a flush to the downside before price potentially does continue higher. So for me, for EURUSD, again, not the best place to be looking to buy it. As a result, still waiting for more downside. There might be some nice short opportunities in the lower time frames. Perhaps as we approach back again this consolidation, this might potentially invite some sellers to join the party, and perhaps another low high, something like that, and we might see that as continuation. Still looking for a push back into these areas. So in my expectation, there is still room to the downside. So a decent pullback on a low time frame, perhaps some entries on the hourly chart, maybe even lower, could present some nice restored opportunities for a pushback down to 1.11. I'm still looking at this area here as well as a potential area for a buy too. So in my book, Euro still has a decent amount of room to potentially fall into. I'm not quite keen on the buys just yet. Again, I like how we're moving. It's nice and corrective. It's not like we're falling off a cliff really aggressive. We're nice and slow, which means, again, I'm expecting us to kick back bullish at some point, but not quite yet. Not quite yet. So that's still very much the plan there for Euro, same as pretty much the dollar, but inverse. Pound USD, same situation pretty much as well. Again, it looks like we're forming that head and shoulder pattern. So you got your left over there, your head to your right shoulder. It looks like from a weekly standpoint, the market's having a lot of trouble trying to sustain this level of resistance here. You can see 1, 2, 3 wicks into that area. I know the current weekly candle still hasn't closed yet, so technically speaking, yeah, it can still look different by the end of the week. But again, we only got 11 hours before that weekly candle closes, so Even if it does push back up a bit, I'm not expecting it to fill the whole wick. So pretty much we've got 3 aggressive wicks there to the upside. So again, next week, I think there's a good chance we do have a bit of a drop there. I think it's going to take a lot of energy for price to go and break this to the upside next week. Of course, anything can happen, but in terms of the likelihood, I would say a push back down looks a bit likely. So I would expect pound USD to fall. We've got a nice head and shoulder pattern on the 4-hour chart, starting to break through some key lows here as well. So again, looking for another lower high for a drop to the downside. But again, still very bullish on pounds. So as we start to push into these areas, this is where I'm starting to look for buying opportunities again to see if I can take pound to the upside. Same situation as euro. Want price to come to me back to some more healthy areas for some buys. Then we can speak about taking price back up again. But at the moment, we are still really struggling at resistance. So I think if anything, there might be some nice shorts to look into. We spoke about some shorts there yesterday. Nice move. Perhaps you might see another rally before falling. But yeah, still looking for a lot more downside there for pound before buying. Dollar CAD, again, same situation. Lovely break to the upside. We had this descending channel, which was keeping price in this kind of corrective format for a while. Now we eventually broke through that lovely breakout this week, and I do expect more upside. I'm still long-term bearish on dollar CAD. My expectation is still, I'm looking for this move to continue. We had the high over here, lovely drop, creating a new low, another lower high, expecting this now to be the new low. So looking for some upside for the next lower high, and again, another continuation. A couple areas I'm looking at. Support there will be taken as resistance over there, hopefully. And of course, support here as well at 1.405. So 1.405, 1.415, 2 areas that look really, really good to me for potential shorts. Of course, still got a while away. Oh, didn't mean to do that. Still got a while away before price actually does get there. So that could still take potentially another week's worth of price action to actually go and hit those levels. But again, happy to wait. We're here to take good opportunities, which we're planning for, not just because we're bored. So yeah, we'll wait to see if we can get that. There might be some continuation opportunities for the buys. So perhaps a pullback, retest the prior high. That could be a nice trade to potentially trade the swing if that's what you're looking for. I think that would be a nice opportunity on perhaps like an hourly or a 30-minute chart for some entry. So I would keep an eye on that if you are bullish. But as a bear, I still want to see higher prices before I do start looking to short again. Aussie dollar, nice move to the downside again. Looks like we're starting to see some commitment to the downside finally. But again, same situation as the past few weeks, looking for a push down simply in expectation that there will be a higher low for us to continue a lot higher. I want price to kind of take out these wicks here because that's kind of where people have been buying, taking price higher. If we can flush the downside, take out those lows, then perhaps put a higher low in, and then potentially that could be the move that gives us the swing. So that's kind of really what I'm looking for Aussie dollar. Yeah, I mean, a push to 0.62 would be great. I'm basically just looking for anywhere between 0.63, 0.62. This is kind of my area of interest for Aussie dollar. If we can get to these prices, start to reject, double bottom, see some wicks, I'll be looking for some entries and targets back to highs and hopefully a little bit further as well. But again, probably still a few days away from actually getting that set up. In terms of shorts, I'm not really a fan of shorting Aussie dollar right now. We're coming back into support here on our left. I wouldn't really be looking to short. If you're looking to try and take advantage of USD strength, I think dollar CAD's a better trade. Euro USD is a better trade. Pound USD is a better trade because we're not coming back into some major support below us. As the USD, I believe we've had that double top, and yeah, price looks like it's just about to take out this low here. So again, USD, same situation as Aussie dollar. Very bullish on this one. Massive swing to the upside. All I've been looking for is just a pullback of this bullish leg. So perhaps now we're going to get it. And yeah, things look good there. I'll take it to the upside, back to highs, so on and so forth. So again, just playing the waiting game pretty much. Waiting for price to come to me before I start look to buy. I suppose we're at support at the moment, so maybe people will be interested in taking some longs, but I do think price is likely to break through this support. I know we had a big wick there a few candles ago, but I do think price is likely to break to the downside anyway. So with the USD, 0.582 really is the main area of interest, waiting for price to get there, and then I'll see what we get, and if things look good, to take some longs, and of course targets back to the swing high at 0.6, roughly, 0.602. So that's the plan there with the USD as well. In terms of gold, this one looked pretty bearish yesterday, had another drop to the downside. I was talking about this area here for some buys. I did mention that to be careful because we might push up and then start to sell off from this area if we start to put a lower high in. I was expecting a deeper move, to be honest, but we just about tapped that low before continuing to the downside. In terms of my next expectation for gold, now I'm kind of overall still pretty bullish. It hasn't really come back to an area which interests me. Of course, we had the range here which price respected last week. Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah, last week. I think that's still probably the better place for a buy if price can push back into that low. Looks like we're respecting some support here on the left. But again, nothing really significant in terms. I wouldn't necessarily start plotting for some longs here. I don't think this is the best place to be looking for a big swing for gold. There's some resistance there. If price was to get there again, I wouldn't be surprised if we sell off as well. So really for gold, price action isn't looking great. The main takeaway is that we're still in a very confident uptrend, so buys still look very good. In terms of positioning for that long-term uptrend, I want price to come to these lows because you can get a safer stop loss, maximize the risk reward. It just makes a lot more sense trying to enter in areas like those and potentially even a retest of the high there as well. So gold, not really a fan of the price action here. I'd personally stay away. But if you can start to attack the lows here again at 32.20 or 31.60, those highs there, I think that'll be a smart place for a buy. And yeah, potentially you could still see that swing back to all-time highs and further. So I'm overly still bullish on gold, but do want to see lower prices. And then, of course, we've got our silver, which, again, still just very, very sloppy price action. Yes, kind of still in an overall uptrend, so I'm still pretty bullish on silver. I do think highs over there will be likely to be taken out. But I'm just not seeing a good opportunity to buy it unless we were to have a push down, perhaps into this low here, even back into this area here, which has proven to be a really strong level of support. I wouldn't even mind taking some buys off that. But yeah, altogether, silver still looking for a swing to the upside, but I want to push down away from this bearish territory here. This is where supply is lurking. Sellers want to jump into the market around this area. So as a buyer, doesn't make too much sense me looking to buy silver at these prices. Even if I think price is going to break through, I'd rather just wait for a safer and better entry to take the trade rather than trying to force things. So yeah, silver waiting for a push down. Whether we get it or not, I have no idea. Looking at the 4-hour chart, looks very, very messy right now as well. So yeah, not really too keen on trading silver just yet. If we can get something like this, fantastic. Otherwise, I think I'll just let silver do its thing and focus elsewhere.